Hi there, it's Natalie with you today with a new process video for Paint Studio. And today we're using the Lovely Lane collection by Paige Evans to create this project. And I'm not going to say we, but it's actually me who's going to be focusing on using the 6x8 paper pad to create this project. I think this is a new product for Paint Studio. Before it used to be 6x6 paper pads, so if you have any of them and you want to use them, this is a good idea to use them up. So lately, I've been on a kick on circles. So I'm going to use circles as kind of my base for this layout. I have my circle cutter and then my 6x8 paper pad. I'm going to use colors, designs, paper designs from the collection that are kind of on the neutral side and also complement and contrast each other nicely. I don't know if you can see, my daughter's wearing like a dark teal shirt, so I know that I have to bring a teal pattern into this, like teal as in color and pattern. I'm also going to bring this pink and white stripe because I found it very neutral, and then I'm gonna bring some like soft purple with different colors just to bring it all together. So the other thing that you're gonna notice is that my circles are not the same size. The stripe white and pink is 5 3/4. The teal one that I'm cutting is 5 1/2. So there's gonna be different in sizes, and then the other one, the smallest one, is gonna be 5 inches, which is like the soft purple with like zigzags on it. So they're not the same size, and it's gonna make a difference because it's gonna pretty much separate them and also kind of create a little bit more interest on the background. So once I have them all together, I had this idea that I wanted to cut them and kind of play with overlapping circles, but it wasn't it didn't look as my brain thought it was going to look. So then I went ahead and just kind of like create the fold on my paper just to know how they're going to look cut, and I knew that that was going to be the cut. But I love the fact that it looks like pockets. So even though I'm folding them, you're going to see what I don't like about this is that the B sides that correspond to the circles, it's not the most alluring or beautiful when I put them all together. So what I'm going to do right now is just going to use that fold line, whatever you want to call it, to cut my circles. And once I have them in place, I am actually going to play with the formation in the background. So it took me a little bit of time and outside of the camera to play with it, but you're gonna see everything just because I needed to get this idea cemented. And like I said, I love the fact that when I folded, kind of created these pockets. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cheat the pockets, and that's what all I'm doing is just the parts that I cut, I'm gonna use them. Think of it as if you folded your page. Now the difference is, like I said, the B sides of this paper don't match what it looks like right now. And by having this, you see that I have the teal at the top, and then the flap of the stripe is the teal, and then the flap of the last one is the stripe paper. You kind of create that sequence on the page, especially because I have that diagonal design going down the page. So I really like this, and I'm adding a little bit of foam adhesive just to keep the pockets together and to create a little bit of separation and dimension on my page. I'm using the thinnest foam adhesive that I could find, and then I am using a little bit thicker when it came to the pockets. Now once I have my circles and that formation, like I said, I'm cheating pockets. I wanted to add my pictures. This is my daughter with one of our dog nieces, a couple weeks ago. I think a year ago or so. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to frame my pictures with a color or a pattern paper in this case that is going to contrast and complement. And I went with this really deep, it's not even purple, it's like a deep maroon tone. And I'm going to create really thin frames around my picture. It's just going to make them pop on the page. And you saw me that I added a little piece of heavy cardstock behind my picture, just to make them pop a little bit more without adding a lot of bulk, a little bit of dimension and not bulk. I am though adding foam adhesive behind my pictures just because I want them to pop and make them a little bit higher than the pockets. Once I have my pictures in place, and you're gonna see they kind of follow that zigzag look down the page, I want to, like I said, think of it as creating pockets. What do pockets need? Things to go inside them. So I am using the Floral Ephemera to create this look, or to cheat this look. So you're gonna see that I am actually gonna start putting some flowers inside the circles, and then I am not like, I know that half the flower is going to disappear, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. Always think about that the ephemera has to work for you. So if you need to cut it, if you need to like, you know, trim parts of it, go ahead, make it work for you. You're going to see that I cut the big flower because it was too big, it's going to disappear, and then I have another one to put on at the bottom of the second picture, and that actually brings them together. This ephemera piece here, it had a lot of like white spacing, nothing wrong with it. I just wanted something a little bit more delicate, so I trimmed half of it, so the white space. And for this flower down here, I'm just going to trim around the leaves because I want to use them to hook them inside the pocket, so it looks like they're coming outside of the pocket. So simple things like that, it's just going to help you tell your story, help you, you know, bring your idea forward. So like I said, I'm thinking pockets. I think things are coming out of the pockets, so I'm going to use my pair of scissors to give it that idea onto my flowers. So once I have that, you're gonna see that I'm adding extra flowers. I'm gonna add a few branches, and then I'm gonna go into a little bit more embellishing. I'm using the Puffy butterfly sticker right at the top. There, it's gonna move, so it's not gonna stay there. And I'm using the chipboard heart, and then I'm bringing from the Puffy stickers the little blue sentiment and also that sentiment stripe. They're both from the Puffy stickers. I don't want that much more because then it's gonna take away from the florals. Now what I struggle, and I always do, is with titles. So my title today is gonna be You Today, and I had this idea of using all the curvatures of the circle to, like, you know, kind of make it long and like, you know, a long title. Once I put it down, it did not look good. So I knew that I needed to use the space at the bottom of the picture to put my title. So I spelled you with the large Puffy stickers and the word today with the mini alphas, the gold ones, just because, you know, the flowers have that gold kind of sense on them. That gold, they don't have foiling, but it has the look of foiling. And then I needed to bulk that out. I needed to give him something that was gonna anchor, you know, not just having the word flying. So I am using some of the Rub-Ons, and what I'm gonna create is kind of a little cluster of flowers that is going to kind of spread towards the top of the Y and a little bit towards the T. And what that's gonna do is gonna help you with the curvature of, like, you know, the effect in that way of the title, but it's also going to help you ground this. Otherwise, the letters are just kind of floating in space. By adding this, it kind of gives it a space to sit. You're going to see that I moved the Y so that the Y now is going to sit on top of the flowers. It just changes the look a little bit. Otherwise, the letters are just floating. If you can find like an arrow that curves or something, it's just going to help a lot. So once I have, like, you know, that in place, you're gonna see, like I said, the butterfly is gonna come down because I think that it needs something that it kind of guides your eye towards that area. So I was looking at it, and then I was like, no, I need to move the butterfly down there just because it needs, like, you know, you see what it changes. It just like kind of cements it. It gives them like a weight that it just doesn't look that the letters are floating in space. And then instead of moving the butterfly, like, you know, the space that I had the butterfly, I'm going to bring enamel dots because I think it needs something to help me you know, emphasize the curvature of the circle. So I'm going to use that, like, you know, the big, like the large, medium, and small of all the different colors. So I'm just going to play with them. I have all the colors in the collection going on my page, so it doesn't really what is the word, I can use all the colors. I just want to make sure that there's a nice representation of all of them. And you're gonna see that I'm putting some at the top left corner of the circle, then and the middle one towards where the cluster is going at, and then at the bottom underneath the pocket towards the bottom right corner of the layout. Now my Lancer journal most likely will go underneath the title, you know, to complete this page, but that's about it. And I love how this turned out. Like I said, I started with the idea, and I've been, like I said, on a kick of circles. I wanted something a little bit different. I knew that I wanted to use my 6x8 because we all have like the 6x8 sitting there. And I think, and you can do this with the large, with the large papers if that's what you have, but I think it's a great way to use your 6x8 paper. Just cut your circles, like I said, cut them in different sizes, you know, If you like the B-sides, just fold the paper. You don't have to cut it like I did. You can just fold the paper and create your pockets. And it's actually a great idea to add a lot more pictures. You can add them in your pockets if that's what you like. And I hope you enjoyed this idea. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to help you. Remember that you always contact me on social media, or you can leave me a comment here and I'll come back and answer for you. Thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more beautiful content, and I hope to see you soon. Take care, guys.